In a world where 54% of Americans read below a 6th grade level,
Could you read this?
It's impossible. I just see his words everywhere.
one man wrote a book about the hidden truth behind clowns.
I finally finished it. But everything's going to be okay now. Links down below to the Amazon.
But he was about to find out
Your primary market is the USA, and it ranks 36th in global literacy rates, with over 43 million adults unable to read or write.
getting the truth to people is no day at the circus.
You know, sometimes I wonder if I'm the real clown.
Nobody reads anymore.
Have you considered recording an audiobook?
You're going to get a sore throat.
You're serious about this, aren't you?
You don't understand. I have to do this. The people have to know.
That book will ruin everything.
I will not use AI to record this.
We can't let him reach them.
This is just something I need to do. I don't even like clowns. The end.
Now they can hide that they're completely illiterate. This is amazing.
This season, playing on rectangular devices with black screens near you. The Nephilim looked like clowns. The audiobook.
Hello, everyone. How are we all doing? Come on in. Sit on down. It's time for episode 100 of the Truther Therapy Sessions. My printer just suddenly jerked at me then and made a noise, which made me jump. So we're off to a good start. Some weird stuff is already happening, and that's what you want in a conspiracy show, isn't it? But here we are, guys, at 100 episodes. I can hardly believe it. That's a ridiculous amount of time people have been listening to me ramble on about things that people probably shouldn't be listening to me ramble on about, to be honest. But here we are. We made it this far, and all the regulars are here in the chat, which is great to see. Thanks, everyone, for being here. If you're listening to this live, you'll know I'm running a little bit late. I originally planned this to start 43 minutes ago, but being the family man I am, you know, responsibilities outside of this channel were calling, so I had to deal with a few things first, and I make no apologies. But you did stick around. People were waiting from the looks of it. We've got 68 people here now, which is fantastic. So thank you for that, and thank you for your patience. I do appreciate it. Yeah, it's going to be a good show today. I have not planned anything at all. So, you know, usually that's when the best things happen. That's when the best shows really start to flow. I have a rough outline. I've got some emails people have sent me I'm going to respond to. I got a guest who wants to come on and share a few things. And who knows, maybe another guest may turn up along the way. Some surprise guests may happen. You never know with these things. Someone jumps in the chat and they say, want to come on? Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. We'll see what happens. I'm winging it. And also, I want to talk about, which again is a response to one of these emails, about the Labubu dolls, which everyone's been kind of sending me a message at least twice a week about. Someone's been bringing up saying, have you heard about these? Have you seen this? What do you think about this? So I'll bring it up. We'll talk about it. We'll get into it, and I'll share a few of my initial thoughts on that as well. And it's actually quite a fitting topic for the channel, because these are things I have kind of discussed in the past, and it does kind of loosely link to my own work with the Nephilim Look Like Clowns as well. So we'll get into that. But also today I want to get a bit retrospective about the last well, it's 11 years since I started the channel. I think it's been about 10 years since this podcast began, with a 5-year gap in between, you know. So actively, it's been about maybe, 5 to 6 years of this podcast happening to get to 100 episodes. And I think maybe we'll go look back at some of the older episodes and the things we were talking about back then. And I kind of want to get a little bit, again, retrospective about where I've come, how my ideas have developed, and the things we discussed once versus where we are now with our ideas. Maybe talk about conspiracy culture as a whole. So it's going to be one of those. It's going to be a real therapy episode, is what I really want to say there. But before we begin, get the usual things out the way. We're going to pull into Shilltown, Connor likes to a term I heard Connor use, and I like using it myself. Yeah, so I do have books available for signed copies. I have hardcovers, I have paperbacks, I have a giant spider which is clawing its way down on a web right now in front of me. I'm going to let it ride. I'm going to let it just go towards the desk fan and do its thing. That's fine. But yeah, weird stuff is happening already. I'm surrounded by bugs. Before you guys let me know, but before I even started this show, a giant moth was just flapping around somewhere, and I managed to catch it into a glass before this started and just release it outside. And I do feel like I am going to have to do something about this enormous spider. I cannot do the show with it like this. So technical difficulties. Let me begin. We're still in Shilltown, so I'll just play you an advert for a few minutes while I deal with this. It's autumn's around the corner. Let's do the Halloween one, shall we? Let me quickly switch here. We'll stop that one. Halloween, there we go. Enjoy this while I deal with this monster in my office.
When ordinary people think of autumn, they imagine shorter days, cozy fires, curling up with a great piece of literature, and basking in the warming scent of cinnamon with shades of burnt orange, which your other half has decided to spend the life savings on to decorate the home for only 2 months, just as God intended. Yet we must remember that this transition into the frosty abyss of winter creates the perfect conditions for the spread of the pathogen known as Halloween. This disease causes people to dress like demons and go door to door asking for free stuff. This public service announcement aims to give you the correct tool to help you deal with these contagious commie behaviors when they manifest in your local community. First, you'll want to arm yourself with multiple shots of the best-selling paperback on Amazon called The Nephilim Looked Like Clowns. With this PPE, you're fully equipped and well protected to handle what's to come next. Second, have a pumpkin spice latte and white girl autumn your time away in knitted cream shackets and pilgrim hats, because soon enough, Samhain begins. This is when the veil between the spirit realm and the physical world is at its thinnest, and possession, the main symptom of Halloween, is more commonly presented, causing this type of unironic cringe to start happening. Just look at him. This poor soul thinks he looks cool. And if you're not careful, this could be you. Together we can stop the spread of Halloween and flatten the curve. When you see fully grown adults playing dress-up and mirroring unspeakable horrors from beyond the void, remember your training and cure their vapid sense of self-identity by handing them one of our favourably reviewed treatments. Your country must develop herd immunity to seasonal cringe. So, spread the cure far and wide. Just like the cure, this disease does not discriminate by age. Emulating the infected, you will see children running around in bedsheets, knocking on doors, begging for sugary treats, and threatening to damage your well-earned property. Make sure to fill their novelty buckets with the one thing all children secretly want: a well-rounded and relatable education in biblical history. That'll stop the spread. The Nephilim Look Like Clowns and the inevitable booster volumes are currently the only known cure to thinly veiled demon channeling holidays. This is your best defense against this pandemic of spooky proportions. All you have to do is trust the science. Which you know we did, because I'm showing you people wearing lab coats and looking serious. Get your copy on Amazon today, and be prepared for tomorrow. Side effects of reading The Nephilim Look Like Clowns include, but are not limited to, a feeling of existential crisis, a well-rounded knowledge of a Christian contrarian view on human history, a foundational understanding of spiritual warfare, and a healthy aversion to clowns.
Okay, I'm back. Hopefully that's the last of the 100th episode jump scares for today. I didn't kill the thing. Everyone's in the comments saying, don't kill it, it's one of God's creatures. I didn't kill the spider. I scooped it up in a cup and I've dangled it out the window. It's free. A bird's going to get it instead. It's not my problem anymore. I understand, I appreciate spiders. Get rid of flies. That's wonderful. but I can't have that thing just coming suddenly in front of me while I'm doing a live stream. It's not, you can go catch flies somewhere else, not here. There we go. So that's dealt with. That's the problem solved. I'm back. Continuing on, I noticed in that advert when I made that last Halloween, it had 45 reviews going in strong at 4.9 out of 5 stars. It's actually at 179 reviews now and still going strong at 4.9 out of 5 stars. So I'm very happy with the book, the way it's gone. Second edition is now released, finalized. Audiobook is available. This is done. This is a done piece of work as far as I'm concerned, and I'm writing the second book almost daily right now. We've got a nice schedule going with my wife. We've just been working on it, and I'm dedicating about a good, 9 to 15 hours a week just solid writing on the second book. So hopefully that should be done maybe by next April. That's my target I'd like to set for myself. These things are often easier said than done. We'll see, because I do want to do the audiobook as well and kind of release them together and get this whole thing boxed off and finalized with a special edition volumes 1 and 2 combined book version with unique book covers and all these type of things. So the stuff's going to have to be done. Reformatting will have to be done. The text will have to be shrunk to make the book smaller, because it's going to be a huge, imagine if I do it as it is, the book's gonna be like this thick. It's gonna be ridiculous, the final thing, which might look cool on your shelf, give Gary Wayne a run for his money with the massive door stops that guy creates. But I don't know. I'll have to figure out some formatting and everything, but hopefully we can get this second edition, second volume as well finished within the year. That's the aim. Like I said, it's flowing. It's coming out every time I write. All the stuff that I've got up here and the research I've done over the years on the video series just comes out onto paper, and it is happening quite as fast as I would like it to happen. Some bits are a bit of a stall because it's heavy research. You don't want to, when you're talking about, Aztec Mayan history, you don't want to get things wrong. So people say this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. You want to actually read the books, and find what the anthropologists have said and what we know. So it's one of those. I'm working on it. But if you do want a signed copy of this volume, volume 1, I still have some left. I have sold 4 of this batch. 3 hardcovers and 1 paperback is gone. But I do still have 2 paperbacks available. And what's that? 4, 5, I don't know, maybe 4 hardcovers left or something like that. So if you're interested, guys, let me know, and just email me at understandingconspiracy@gmail.com, and I can mail you out a signed copy of The Nephilim Looked Like Clowns, paperback or hardcover. And for this batch, this is the last one I can do it with because I'm going to run out of codes otherwise. If you're in the UK or the US, I can give you a free copy of the audiobook with the signed copy purchase as well. So that's the deal. That's still on the table. Anyone who's interested, just email me, and I'll send you the PayPal link and the cost and everything. We'll sort all that out together. So there we go. That's the deal right now. That's what I've got going on. It's a great way to support me, and also consider becoming a patron. Extra stuff going on there. Bit of behind the scenes stuff here. If I share my screen with you, actually, maybe I can give you a glimpse of what I'm working on right now. So I'll open my iMovie, and yeah, I'm in the throes right now of editing an interview I did with Hunter Tylo, an ex-Bold and Beautiful soap opera star. She's been in loads of things, and I'm kind of in the middle of editing this right now. So if I share the screen, you can kind of see. Here's what I do on iMovie. And yeah, it's coming along. It's an hour 44 interview. This is what's going to be released on Understanding Creativity soon. Lots of stuff here, lots of pictures backing up what we're talking about, kind of going into the history of some of the shows she was on, her rise to fame, the experiences she kind of had, what the expectations on the shows they had of her being a Christian, the way her family was treated, behind the scenes talks about narcissistic abuse with her husband, lots of things going on in this. She kind of tells all about what it's really like to be an actress in the industry, the things they make you do, It's a really good conversation. I'm actually really enjoying editing this. And again, this is going to be available very soon on Understanding Creativity. So, but if you want to listen to the raw 2 hours unedited version, that is available on my Patreon, and you can go and check that out right now if you want to. It is available, good to go, so go and check that out. But I'm currently about, 1 hour 20 into this thing. We're just talking about when she did one of her movies in India there. But 1 hour 20 in, I've got about 20 minutes left to finish there and edit, and that'll be out hopefully by next week. Fingers crossed. I'm hoping Friday next week, so that's something to look forward to on the other channel as well. Something else I'm kind of working on the sides. Yeah, so there we go. A bit of behind the scenes, how the sausage is made type of stuff for you guys. So I thought I'd just share that with you, give you a quick update. But I'm also interviewing a musician on Wednesday. That should be good. That should be interesting. He kind of has had a bit of a battle with Spotify, which we're going to get into and talk about for that channel as well. And Susan's coming back to do another occult art presentation as well on next Sunday, the 7th of September. So there's lots of stuff coming on that channel too. So keep your eyes open on there, guys. Yeah, so there's a bit of an update. Something that's going on there. Go to Patreon, go check that out. Again, sign up, access loads of backlog of things on there. Early access stuff goes on there as well. If you just want to see what I'm working on or you want to see things before they're released to the public, that's where you'll find that too. So let's leave Shilltown. That's enough. I haven't even talked about the merch. I'm not even wearing my own merch today, but I do have merch. Go check it out down there. Fourth wall. Get yourself a Truth or Therapy session mug. Here we go. And fill it with water like I do and pretend that you're drinking coffee. Lovely. Right. So, the show. So I was looking back, and I was thinking back to when this kind of thing kind of started. And I was thinking, I was fresh out of university. I made this channel, Understanding Conspiracy. This, I don't know what it was then. I thought like it was going to be like examining the conspiracy culture to help other people understand what these people believe. That was kind of the main ethos. Like it's gonna be a meta commentary on the truth of conspiracy itself, like the culture of conspiracy, not necessarily just conspiracy theories. That was my initial dipping my toe into the idea of talking about conspiracies, and it comes with this worry you have. I don't want people to think I'm one of them. I don't want people to think I'm crazy. I'm just talking about the culture of conspiracy. I'm not one of them. I'm not like one of them. It's kind of what you do when you first, you're scared to. You don't want people to label you as such a thing, And I guess I was trying to broach that carefully in some way and present myself as something different. But as time went on, I realized, well, no, it's all true. These guys aren't wrong. Like there is a horrible conspiracy to control us. We've got this. I don't know. We've got these secret societies that have their claws in every facet of our life with a long-term agenda to basically bring Lucifer back into the world, which is actually at the same time on the surface behind all of that. It's actually some kind of Jewish Talmudic Kabbalah mysticism offshoot, like overreach within these secret societies that has this long-term antichrist agenda going with it as well to basically kill us all and cull our numbers down so they can usher in their own messiah and utopic rulership world upon us all. You start discovering all these dark underlying plans and agendas that are being done against us, and many factions putting race against race and killing us in many nefarious ways, as well as mind controlling us and sending us down horrible routes, and drugging us, controlling the money. And I don't know, you know what it's like when you first wake up and you see all this stuff. It's very overwhelming, and it's kind of you have to let it sink in for a while. And I was in my sinking in period when I had this channel. And I didn't really know what I was going to do with it after uni. After I'd done presenting myself all posh and above it all at uni to get the grade, afterwards I was like, what the hell am I doing? Like, who am I? What is going on here? What have I come across? I had this art degree, no prospects of a future really. I was lonely, desperate, angry, drug addicts, and typical art student as it is, broken, addicted to drugs. But cannabis, it wasn't that bad really. I did a few of the hard things, dabbling in psychedelics and the rest of it, thinking I'm deep, philosophizing about the collective consciousness and all that nonsense. And I was kind of rolling with this channel. So what else am I going to do? So I was back at my mum and dad's house after uni, practically living in the shed. And in these early videos, that's what you see. That is exactly what was going on, and I was just exploring the conspiracy culture. So if I bring this up, I can even show you what to be if you're new to this channel and you don't know where I come from and what was going on. Like there's a history you can go back and check on to prove to you that I really am like I've been doing this a while, and it's come a long way. The channel has certainly come a long way. So if I can find, there's my Truth or Therapy sessions, all that nonsense. Let's turn that off and let's go way back in time. So I'll share the screen with you. Here it is. Here's the playlist. This is the current one that's on now. And if I scroll all the way down here, we can go back to episode 1. And there's a few episodes missing, to be honest, which probably got lost because of censorship. I think that's why some of them did go missing, to be honest. But let's go to the very first episode. Let's mute that. I'm using Google Hangouts. Like, this wasn't even a thing anymore, but here I am in the shed. Look at that low quality webcam. I don't even know what that is, you know. It was a different time. It was a simpler time, you know, and people would call in and share their stuff, and I would ramble and go on about whatever it is I thought I was going on about then, wearing a gilet in a cold British shed. And it went on, you know, then I did a little presentation on communism. It's like I didn't really want to show myself in this one. Then we go, let's go this one. There I am with my guitar, up and a bit of performance people. Look how thin I am. Look how young I look. I'm reading something here. I don't know what I'm reading. Just give myself some therapy, you know, dealing with what the hell's going on. Like, I was probably high. I'm not going to lie. At the time, I was probably still smoking weed. But it looks like I may have just been coming across my research in the clowns by this point. I must have been establishing it. So what's this, 8 years ago, episode 3. And it looks like I'm sharing something to do with the clown research. So this is when I just kind of was discovering it, in a sense, and trying to like relay and explain what the hell it is I'm talking about. But you know, the good old days. But this was, like I said, this was a long time ago. Very low budget operation, nothing really going on. And all that happened is I got a job. I earned some money. I got clean. I'm still wearing a black shirt. Nothing's really changed, as you can see. Look at this. And here I am now. You know, I'm still wearing black, and all I did was, you know, get married, have kids, get a job, establish myself in a way. Take a break from YouTube after the work, found the channel, and when I came back, I had this whole other life, and I kind of picked up where I left off. I picked up with my clown research, you know, and this podcast had just felt natural to just carry on and continue, and it really is something that is the core ethos that the channel became, because before the clown stuff, you know, what I really wanted to do was help truthers stop looking so weird so people would actually listen to them. That's it, really. That was my only goal. It's like, oh, these people have the right information. They all know what's going on. These people, like, have found the truth, and they're screaming it from the rooftops. Yeah, these people have discovered the hidden hand and the agendas against us. These people have the right information. They're just terrible with it. They don't know what they're doing. Like, they don't know how to get people to listen to them. They're not salesmen. They're not natural born charismatic people. They look a bit weird, act a bit weird, say crazy things, and look a bit strange and behave strange. You know, it's like no one's listening to them. It looks like a bunch of crazy people screaming crazy things. And, you know, I'm not trying to be harsh, but it's exactly what it was like back then in like 2011, 2012, 2013 period of trutherisms. It was awful. Like, it was a Wild West. Some people call it the Golden Age, because it was just so wacky and weird and nuts, you know. And we had the New Agers didn't do us any favors in that faction of conspiracy with their chakra alignments, Kundalini energy, like sending to the fifth dimension bullshit, you know. So it's kind of that certainly doesn't give us a good foundation to begin with. And the Christians were just screaming about the end times all the time. And I was there thinking, this is terrible. Like, this needs fixing. Like, how the hell are we supposed to get people to take this seriously if this is what the truth of culture is and looks like to people? So my main mission was to help people present themselves a bit better with this information and kind of calm people down. Normalize being a truther as well. Make people realize, like, oh, conspiracy theorist type people aren't crazy. They're just like me or you. They've just seen some stuff and they want to try and tell me what it is. And if we can get people to like calm down a little bit and stop looking and acting so nuts, maybe people will take it a bit more seriously. And I'm still doing that today. The Truth of Therapy sessions are that. And it's a good way for people who have kind of woken up to the truth as well. I realized a lot of these people, the problem is they're isolated, they're alone, they've been abandoned, rejected by everyone they love around them, and no wonder they're weird. They've been locked in their room watching YouTube videos for like 3 years straight and not really seeing much daylight. I can't. Can you blame them for being weird? I was one of them. I get it. It's strange. We're an odd bunch, And I realized, like, well, they just kind of need people to talk to. Like, because I realized, and you see the views on some of these videos, millions of views, hundreds of thousands of views. People are watching these videos and learning this stuff, whatever it was back then, the RFID chips or the black goo symbolism or the I don't know, the symbols in the layout of Washington, and the maps, the megalithic structure stuff, the UFO stuff, the alien stuff, whatever it is, the aliens are demons things, all the cryptid things that people were researching back then, the 9/11 symbolism that was everywhere in all the media before it happened, the predictive programming stuff, all the false flag things, all those early days when we were kind of waking up. There was hundreds of thousands of people watching this stuff, so I knew, like, we're not actually, like, isolated. We don't have to be. We could start communities. We could talk to each other. We could become friends, and we can build a solid community online of like-minded people. We're all there. So that's what I started to do as well. And that's what the Truth of Therapy session was for. The whole point was, let's talk to each other, let people share their testimonies, their journeys to waking up, the things they've gone through, the families and friends they've lost and how that made them feel and how they've dealt with it, and offer advice here and there. And those early conversations on those early episodes really was just that. And I hope it still kind of is that today. As it's developed into the future, I've obviously added my own presentations in to get the conversation going at the start. I've got guests on who have other podcasts and do their own truther stuff to kind of tell their journeys too, and try and get us together. I want you to get together type of thing. I was trying to get that to happen, and I think I've had some levels of success over the past 8 years since this podcast began. It's been up and down, and some successes here, not successes over there. I've had people, I think, try to use me to forward their own agendas in some way, taking advantage of my good nature. I've had some people call in and say ridiculous things and I have to cut them off immediately. I've had some fantastic conversations with people where they've bared their soul, and it's really elevated the community in many ways and helped us kind of build a stronger connection. All in all, I think it's been good and bad. And I think the subject matters have come and gone as well over the years. We've talked about everything and everything on this podcast because we're talking about the things that move the conspiracy culture. We're talking about those moments throughout conspiracy, throughout the years that we've all kind of ridden the waves of and the troughs and sunk to the depths of, and we've all kind of gone through those motions bit by bit. And the thing is, with every big event or whatever that is, or big topic, we draw in new people into the conspiracy culture, and they're all going through the exact same things we all went through from like the early periods. They're losing their friends and family, they're jabbering like idiots for hours, they don't know when to shut up, they don't know how to deal with the information they've got, they're overwhelmed, they're splurting it all over the place, and again, they're making enemies and losing everything, and the whole support structure's collapsing, and they're becoming isolated and weird. So hopefully what we're doing and what I'm trying to do with this kind of like Overton window shift is make it normal to be a truther. How can you live in this world and not be one? Realistically now, it's normal. I think it's normal. I'm not saying I've made that happen, but I've been there trying to facilitate it, or at least help catch those people who fall into the community for the first time. Let's say after COVID, that was a big one that brought a lot of people in, and hopefully catch them and give them what they need, the tools necessary to now navigate the world with this new knowledge before it's too late. Because there is a way to deal with this information. There's a way you can handle it better as not to complete and totally lose everything and everyone around you. It can be done. It can be done. It'll just take some breathing exercises on your behalf. It takes the time to take focus and really understand what it is we're dealing with and to prioritize what matters, And in those early days when you're just waking up, you're not in the right state of mind to make good decisions. You're just not. And you tend to go at everything with a flamethrower because it's like, screw this, everything's evil, everything's terrible. You're all just brainwashed sheep. And you tend to burn every bridge around you. And I think that's not the way, and a lot of people will argue with me and have been arguing with me ever since I've tried to do this. And I've released a video recently saying, these are the people you're trying to reach, and that was the thumbnail, and I think the title was like they are shallow idol worshipping lost souls. Like, they haven't got a clue what they're doing. They really don't. Like, and the response, and I kept trying to hammer home this idea to people, like, I know you're angry at them. I know you think they should know better, but they don't know any better. They're not purposefully choosing the side of evil like a lot of people think they are. It might look like that, and our natural reaction is just to say to those people, screw them, because they'll screw me over in a second, so why should I give any care to them? But as soon as you have that attitude, you have lost. They've got you exactly where they want you. They've caused division, okay? All you're doing by having that attitude is perpetuating the stereotype that truthers are hard-headed, egotistical, self-centered lunatics who are yammering on about crazy things and think they know everything. And that's a bad image to have. You can't make enemies of the entire human race just because they haven't discovered the information you've discovered yet. And no, they're not going to listen to you and just believe it because you said so. There's tactics, there's tacts that needs to be taken. And the whole Tips for Truthers and Truther Therapy sessions is dedicated to teaching you how to have that tact, how to have those tools and that ability to communicate this effectively. And you think, just telling them the truth and telling them they're wrong is going to make them believe you and wake up and suddenly say, oh, thank you so much? No, it's not. You do have to play a game, unfortunately. You're dealing with shallow, idol-worshipping idiots at the end of the day who just are living a fantasy. And they don't know they're living a fantasy. They think it's reality. And who are you? Who the hell are you just coming along telling them that's all a lie and nonsense? Like, yeah, they're not going to enjoy that at all. You're an enemy immediately from that perspective, and you look crazy. So you do have to build a relationship and be personable and maybe have a bit of charisma and sort yourself out and stop smelling so much and putting raggedy clothes on anymore. Maybe just chill out and be normal. Maybe just behave like a normal human being for a second. Be personable, be relatable. Make them laugh. People love it when you make them laugh, and then they'll listen to anything you have to say. There's things you've got to do. Just simple, basic human interaction stuff, which falls at the wayside when a lot of people wake up. Suddenly think that doesn't matter anymore. I'm not going to play by society's rules of how I should behave type of stuff. Well, you still live in a society. You live in one. Deal with it. That's all I can really say. Like, nobody listens to anybody in this world unless in some way, shape, or form they're likable. And that's what you've got to do. You have some powerful information people need to know, and to get them to listen, because it's very difficult, you're going to have to sort your shit out. So that's basically what I've been saying on repeat for 8 years. To again, varying levels and degrees of success. And still, no matter how often I say it, I get the same people every now and then just sparking up with, no, screw you, they're evil, they're idiots, I don't want anything to do with them. And then for good measure, they throw in, and you're clearly a Freemasonic, Vatican, Jesuit, Jewish shill out here to deceive us all. Which one is it, Am I that, or am I just that kid who was in his shed 8 years ago, just trying to get through it and process all the information myself, who happened to just, get a better house and paint a wall green? I don't know what to say to that, but that's again, comes with the waves and troughs of being a truther trying to discuss conspiracy theories, and heaven forbid, give a little bit of advice. One person said, stick to the clowns and stop giving unsolicited advice. And while I'm at it, I'm pretty sure you're a Jesuit shill. I can't win, can I? But that being said, I get great emails from people every now and then telling me, actually, it has helped. So those affirmations I get from people telling me this is working in some way are helpful. Thank you for giving me that support and letting me know that I'm not just screaming into the ether here and it's just fluttering off in the wind like a crisp packet. Thanks for letting me know that this holds some value to somebody somewhere, and I'm thankful for that. And the channel, along with the Truth of Therapy Session podcast, which by the way is now available in podcast format. For many years this was just YouTube live only, but now there is actually a podcast called the Truth of Therapy Sessions. It's under Understanding Conspiracy. You can get it on Spotify, Apple, Deezer, wherever you get your podcasts from. It should be on there. Unfortunately, iHeartRadio doesn't allow UK people to be on there, so I don't know why. I don't know, limiting me, but it actually became a real podcast. And again, we've had guests, we've had also things on here, but the channel alongside this has gone through the motions too, and it's been initially it started as a channel discussing conspiracy ideas and the effects on the conspiracy community, the factions within conspiracy, the New Agers, the whistleblowers, the alt-right, the alt-left, the 99%, the anonymous groups. It was a different landscape back then. This is before Q and all the rest of it, and before Pepe turned up, that type of thing. But I kind of went through all the factions within the truther community, including the New Age types and the many umbrella terminology that comes under the New Age with Gnosticism as well, and then you've got the Christian angle, and then the numerous denominations below them. And I was really trying to just map it out. What is the truther culture? And then I started talking about conspiracy topics. I started networking a little bit and really getting into current events, whatever shooting was happening at this time, or whatever plane was falling out the sky at this point, or whatever weird occult thing was happening over there or over here, and trying to make predictions, and getting angry about the state of civilization, and also just going through the motions. Then I found my Nephilim clown niche. I discovered that and worked on that, and that grew to be what it is today, which is wonderful. And I focused on that heavily for like 2 years. While also throwing in I had a tirade against the map people, the ones that are attracted to the most innocent, and I started trying to attack that community because they had trying to normalize it in the media, like it was just something we need to get used to rather than detest, and these people are they can't help who they're attracted to, sort of sympathy pieces within magazines. And I was like, hell no. And I was raging against them in videos for a short period, and they ended up having to be taken down. Apparently I was too hateful for many reasons, but the backlash to that was very telling. That I touched on a massive nerve. And that article got retracted in the end as well. So I'm wondering if I had some sway in that. Maybe I did. Maybe I don't think I was the only one railing against it. But it was interesting that the video I made against these evil people trying to normalize the most disgusting of actions instantly got 30 dislikes. And I found out the writer of the article had a class and was a teacher, and had 30 students. So I think he got his students to dislike my video and then rage against it. How who are you to say these people don't deserve to live in society? And I'm like, don't try and normalize pedophilia to me, you fucking dirtbag. I wasn't having any of it. I was raging, but that's what they were like. That's what it was like back then, and it's probably no better now, to be honest. But after that is when I had to take 5 years off and take a break. And the channel just disappeared. I hid everything because I had to, because I was threatened to be fired for having this channel, and talking about such controversial topics for such a multicultural, diverse, LGBT friendly company and all this type of thing. I was like, oh, whatever. Anyway, 5 years later, I quit that job because it was just the worst soul-sucking, disgusting experience I never want to experience ever again. Working for narcissistic psychopaths and a soulless corporation that really doesn't care about me, while being attacked by a public who's losing their fucking minds. And it's kind of, okay, I don't want to do that. I'm not being that guy. I'm a conspiracy theorist. I'm an artist. I'm a creative mind. I'm going to go out there and do something with it. So I came back, and then the channel focused on the clowns again. And I was a lot calmer by that point. I'd gone through enough to learn enough that you need to keep you cool. You gotta. And I learned a thing or two, and I touched grass for a little bit, I suppose, and came a bit back down to earth. And then I picked up the podcast where we left off, and then the networking really set off. People wanted to talk about the Nephilim clowns. I did the podcast circuit. I made a lot of friends, and probably lost a lot of friends, because then I started talking about the little season. And then I think a lot of the Christians who invited me on the podcast suddenly were like, "Whoa, I don't want to get this guy back on anymore." For whatever. I made a lot more new friends talking about that topic, and that really became a thing. And then, lo and behold, I suddenly swell up and the channel blows up, and I have this split focus on my channel. I'm the Nephilim clown guy to 40,000 of my subscribers, and I'm the millennial rain guy to another 40,000 of my subscribers. It's like, who am I? No one knows what I'm talking. What does this channel even do anymore? Who even knows? But I was just in it for the ride. I was in it just to explore ideas, which is what the channel's always been about. Let's explore every topic. Let's take them all to the reasonable conclusions. Let's get to understand the conspiracy, and let's find answers, and then let's put that away in the puzzle piece, in the big picture we're making, and move on and do the rest. And I'm in the move on, do the rest stage now, and that was a wild year, the Millennial Kingdom stuff. That was crazy. That I didn't realize just speculating in my car one day would snowball into some kind of movement, which now just has legs and is running off on its own. And I've observed it, and I've watched it grow. And like many other truth and movements, I watched observe and grow throughout the decades and discussed, like the Mandela effect or the flat Earth or whatever it is, pick one. I started to see the writing on the wall. It's going the exact same way all those ones go. Factions are being created, group thinks are being created, cliques are being created, infiltrators are getting their claws in there and obfuscating and changing it and trying to control it. And I saw the writing on the wall and I was like, well, it's time to step out and just go back to observing and do my thing again. So that's what Understanding Conspiracy is doing now. I'm back in that stage. I've gone back to my Nephilim clown work and I'm back to talking about all the other topics. But that was a wild ride, and I'm thankful for all the friends I made in that little swimming around in that topic for a while. And I'm a believer. I think we're in the little season, or Satan's last season, as the rebrand is trying to make. I agree with Connor from the Cult of Con. I think it needed rebranding. I think the major issue for that topic was that it was being seen as like giving Satan too much power. So people saying this is a satanic deception in some way, but it is what it is. It's the last season of Satan before full, total eradication of evil and the new heaven and earth being established, and ushered in, no doubt, through us and by Christ and the rest. So it's actually a good thing. It's a good timing. It's one of those. My wife believes this episode should have been a scorched earth episode where I should have gone in on everything and everybody I learned about during the little season and just burn it all to the ground on every bridge I've ever made, and say the truth about what's really going on behind the scenes, because I have some decorum. I understand that some things are better left unsaid. If you haven't got anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. So yeah, no, I do have a lot of nice things to say about a lot of the people I met along the way, but I also saw some ugly sides of a lot of people, a lot of content creators as well along the way. And I feel like when you create something like this, where that gets so big, and you're talking about something that's such a deeply rooted personal topic to people, which is religion, and the belief in Christ and where we're on the timeline and all that type of thing. That has like profound effects on the psyche of a lot of people, and some people saw what was happening and they didn't really care about the truth. I can tell some people saw what was happening and thought, I want a piece of this. I want to get on that gravy train. I think I should be leading this movement. I want to make a lot of money off of this. Or some other people got jealous, some smaller channels, and were kind of like, I should be the one talking about this. Everyone should be listening to my thoughts on this topic. And I went back to basics, and, like I said, with the Truth Therapy session, it's like, stop being so weird and chill out. You're giving us a bad look. But then, anyway, I'm still saying it now. Things got weird. It got weird and gay, to coin a phrase that was popular over the past 6 months. Things just got weird and gay, man. I didn't like it. Things were getting strange. I don't know what was going on. People were acting crazy. The movement was just snowballing in such a weird direction, and people were losing their minds, and people were getting cultic zealous over it as well, in a really strange, unfortunate way. I just like talking about ideas and theorizing and getting into the deep stuff and having fun doing it. They were doing something else. They wanted to make an entire lifestyle out of it and make it all about them and who they were. They were making a personality out of it, and not always for the best reasons. Some of them are sincere. I think some of them are genuinely sincere, and I wish them all the best in continuing this and taking the baton and spreading the truth and so forth. But I don't think I think a lot of the new people who've joined this are not sincere, to be honest. And that's just my personal opinion. I could be wrong. But I think I know there's lots of money to be made in that movement now. There's a lot of ad revenue to be gained, because this is something I've kind of learned. And I think this is why there's such corruption in the churches and pastors and online pastors and preachers and all these type of things. When you start positing yourself as like a religious expert, or in a position where you're becoming like a preacher of sorts, where you're talking about the word on a daily basis on your channel, or to a large numbers of people, they start seeing you as like their leader, like a pastor, you know, or a deacon, or whatever you want to call it, whatever sect you're a part of. But it's kind of like, and they start seeing you as like, you run a ministry. They start using this language, and it's something about people in general, and they naturally behave this way. And for some reason, people like chucking a lot of money at people who are like, they think, I'll have a ministry, probably because they believe they're supposed to give some of their money to the church and all this type of thing. Is based on that you know, the Bible itself to say things like this. So I think it's the idea that it's kind of like, well, I've got to support my ministry, you know. So people and these leaders of these ministries, I've seen it because I got a taste. They get money thrown at them, and I don't think that cannot corrupt you. Like, I could feel it myself, and I was feeling a bit wrong about it. I was like, this shouldn't be how this is going. This is turning into another dog and pony show. This is turning into something else, and I can see why the wolves and the vultures and the snakes are circling, because they want a piece of this. You know, they're salivating at the bit to kind of hijack this and become those leaders that get thrown. And they're willing to say all the buzzwords, you know, and say all the right things. And they've heard the script now. They've heard me and JT or whoever talking about this for a year, and they know what they need to say to get the people to follow them. And I think that started to happen. And I feel something very disingenuous about a lot of the movements that kind of arose and some of the characters that started to appear. And I started to get attacked behind the scenes in weird ways as well. Weird backbiting stuff was going on, smarmy emails, which just had like an undertone of hate behind them. And it's kind of, you know, we agreed as a family, it's like, it's time to get out. This is not good. This is dangerous. In fact, I think this is getting weird. I think it's getting to dangerous levels, you know. So promises have been made, and like, I'm not your guy for that. Yeah, people still email me today thinking I'm the guy, and I'm gonna answer back or have a conversation with them about that on the channel in some way. And it's kind of, you know, and again, this is a truth therapy session. I'm going through the history of the channel. And this has been a big part of the channel in recent years, and a lot of people have subscribed to me because of that topic. And I'll say I'm a believer, but like most problems with the truth of culture, people get weird and start acting strange and put everyone off. And I'm hoping my work can stand there, my playlist on this, as an example of, you want people to listen to you and believe the ideas you've got. Try and just be calm, be cool, collect, be likable, be a bit funny, take it easy. And look how far I got. I got to Eddie Bravo. You know what I mean? I think my voice was played to Joe Rogan in one of his by Eddie Bravo at some point because of this. And it's because you just take it easy and you be cool about it, you know? And a lot of people, unfortunately, in the truther world can't be cool about it. They just don't know how. So go watch my tips for truthers. Learn how to be cool about it. Like, lead by example, people. We are ambassadors for the truth. People look at us to try and find out what the truth movement's all about. And when they see crazy people yammering on like zealots, they go, oh, that's what that's all about. Never mind. And then you've lost them forever. It's sad, you know, and sometimes I feel like I'm smashing my face up against a brick wall. I really do. And it's like, some people say, Paul, this advice was great. Thanks for reminding me to chill out. And other people are like, who the hell do you think you are, you Zionist shill, trying to tell me to chill out? Screw those people. They don't deserve it. They know what they're doing. They've given in to the lies and they love it. And it's kind of like, no, they haven't. Shut up. Shut up and chill out. Calm down, please. Just calm down. Again, maybe I am just smashing my face up against a brick wall. Who truly knows? Anyway, just so I can calm down before we carry on talking here, I'm going to play you another advert. This is going to be an advert-filled day, and I'm going to play some music as well. Actually, let's do a music break first. I'm going to play you New Age Hippie. This was written in 2016, I think, when I was just coming to Christ and coming out of the New Age, and started to think, man, the New Age is really cringe, isn't it? So here's that for you guys, if I can find it. Here we go. That is not New Age Hippie. Never mind. Let me quickly find this for you. I will find it. I do have it somewhere. Let's go. Properties. Browse. Let's just search New Age Hippie. And here's the song for you guys. We'll do that one. And we're good to go. Enjoy this for a quick break, guys. And we're back. There we go. So that was New Age Hippie. That's one of my own little jams I created a while ago. I just slapped some random stock footage on there to make a music video out of it. And that's something that is actually available to listen to on the Understanding Creativity channel. If you want to go and listen to that, you can do. Just go to my other channel, check out original artwork, and it's on there with a piano piece as well, a Walk in the Rain that I made when I was at university on a professional piano studio. So go check that one out as well. A little improvised jazz piano set to the back sound, the sound of rain, for what it's worth. But it's actually become a part of the opening theme and closing theme for the videos on that channel. I have a lot of random little pieces of music I've created over the years, which you'll find are incorporated into the channel, so you can check that out. That's something else. This channel has given me the ability, and this podcast has given me the ability to kind of use these pieces of artwork I created over years of my life and get them somewhere where people actually listening to them and use them usefully. So it feels like my creativity hasn't all been in vain. You know? And speaking of creativity, people don't know, I drew Wendy's cat, who sadly passed away not that long ago. And there's a whole, again, you can watch the whole video on Understanding Creativity. And someone else recently reached out to me and has commissioned me to draw the dog who's just passed away. So that's something I was preparing for today. I went out and bought myself a new A4 pad for this, and I got myself a size F pencil as well. I don't know what it is, but this is my favorite pencil, size F. It's a good one. Look, it's not even been used yet. It's still sharp. Look at this thing. I'm getting prepared to do that for them, and I've made a composition on Photoshop from the photo she sent me of a cat as well, who was like the best friend, and I've kind of compiled where everything's going to go, and I'm getting ready to draw that soon. So, you know, it turns out now I actually am a practicing paid artist. What do you know? So my dream finally came true, and people see enough value in what I do creativity-wise for me to be able to really dreams fulfilled here, you know, and I have to remind myself every day how blessed I truly am to be able to live a life where I could do this for a living and make artwork for people and make those connections in the most beautiful way, and obviously bring people's memories of their loved ones to life, and using the skills God gave me in some way. So I feel truly blessed, and I know, again, I want to thank everybody who's made that possible. And it is only possible because you people actually tune in to listen to me on a regular basis, and people have chosen to support me by buying my book, reading my book, and supporting that work, and any way they can, you know. And I feel like we've made a solid community here that can last. And this is, you know, coming back to the whole little season thing to kind of box it off, I feel like a lot of the people who are in that community don't have anything else to make it last. They've built everything upon that one idea, that one concept, that everything's riding on it. And if that goes, if they don't talk about that thing, they've got nothing, you know. And I was lucky enough that I could stop, and I lost maybe a third of my income because everything else I have was based on work I'd made prior, something else I built for myself, a community on top of that, and not pigeonholing myself onto one thing. So if anyone's looking to start a channel involving anything at all, never pigeonhole yourself solely just to one thing, and then put all your eggs in one basket. If you want to do this long term, if you actually want to make a living doing this in some way, you've got to create something of value in many levels and many ways. So again, I've got the book, I've got the audio book, I've got the Telegram group, which creates a community where people maintain and build relationships. I build relationships with people. I have the podcast where I reach out, interact with the community, have conversations with them regularly, you know. And then I've got the channel alone where I make my own videos, where I got my own series I make on the Nephilim clowns as well on there, which keep people coming back. And you build more. You build something that's a solid foundation that's built on the only rock that matters, of course, which is Jesus Christ at the end of the day. So that's kind of what I'm hoping to do. I'm not a little season channel. I'm a Christian conspiracy channel. That's it, you know. And that's a broad platform to build upon, and something that could last. And that's what I've had to remind myself again with coming out of the little season research and kind of stop being a figurehead on that, stop pushing forward the vanguard, you know, and going to all the big podcasts and getting the word out and that sort of thing. Like, I think I did a lot of that and I've got it out, and now again the ball's rolling. It's kind of, I can't be doing that forever, and I imagine a lot of people are going to feel trapped in that now forever in some way. And their argument is going to be that, well, this is the only thing that matters. You know, you shouldn't be talking about anything else. And it's like, well, that's not what got me to wake up to begin with. It was talking about spiritual warfare. The thing that woke me up, truly, was listening to Derek Prince just give the basic gospel and explain how demons work and what spiritual warfare truly is and how deliverance works. That's what really woke me up. So that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the spiritual warfare we're under on a regular basis, because I know that reaches people at the core of where they are. To get to the little season finale, you kind of have to do a lot of work first. You have to know a lot of things for it to make sense. You have to have gone down so many rabbit holes already. You have to have come to many conclusions already about the state of the world and where the controllers are and what's going on. To get people there, it's a journey. You know, it's the end of the rabbit hole, of the warren. Many people are just lost in the warren at the surface still. And they're still just dealing with the demons. And they don't know what to do. And they don't know what's going on or what it even is or how it works, you know. And I find the spiritual warfare discussions that talk about the Nephilim, the demons, the history, the Nephilim like clown stuff, for example, actually meets people where they are in a whole other level, even people outside of the Christian community. It gets them there. It gets them to see why it matters, why they need Jesus, how they can save themselves and protect themselves using the weapons that have been given to us through Christ and the authority given to us to tread on serpents, how they can use that name, Jesus Christ, you know, the title of the Christ, Jesus the Messiah, you know, the Son of God, how you can use that name and the demons will flee. And I think that is practical advice that can be applied to anybody at any moment that gives them the proof necessary, the fruits necessary to know that they don't just have to go off faith alone. They can know it's true. It worked for me. And I know it can work for others. And that's what I want people to feel and know. I want them to know. I want them to feel that knowing that they can do that, you know, and they can have a truly born again experience and become a new person, a new creature in God, in Christ, you know, and be made in the image of how he intended you to be, not what the world has carved you into in some brutal way, you know, this false image, this false idol of who you think you are versus who God made you to truly be. You can finally know all that and rest assured that your salvation is there, and you know you can do the work necessary on yourself to reach those levels of peace in your life. Like, I want people to get there, and I don't think the little season is the thing that's going to get them there straight away. In fact, it comes with a lot of confusion, a lot of fear, a lot of other things get bagged on with that concept and that idea. And I'm not saying they shouldn't go to the little season eventually, but there's a lot of people out there who need to go through all the other stuff first. They need to know about the spiritual war aspect. That's why I would say to those people who say like, well, this is the only thing you should be talking about. It's like, you're wrong. You're just wrong. Okay, I am called to be a fisher of men. I'm going to cast a wide net. Okay, I'm going to catch as many as I can, get them there. Okay, and some people need the clown to get there, and I have the emails to prove it. You know, like they've told me it worked, so I'm going to keep doing that. I think that's where, if God wants me anywhere, He probably wants me to continue doing what I was doing before the little season stuff. And I enjoyed the little season stuff while it was going on, while I was at that high moment before things got weird. It seemed like optimistically, this is good, this is great, but sadly, like I said, it went the way all these movements go when it becomes that kind of thing. When it becomes so big, it gets co-opted. And I'm not playing that game. I'm not getting involved in that, you know, and I don't want to end up being lumped in with the shills. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just the truth. I don't want to end up there. And I don't want to be given into wild speculation and fanciful ideas that start veering away from reality in many ways as well. And I don't want to be associated with that. I don't want people to think I'm one of those crazy weirdos who puts people off becoming truthers, you know? I don't want to be people think I'm some overzealous like freak in some way, like, and that's kind of where it was going. And it's I can't do that. That's not my way. That's not my ethos. That's not how I've That's not the brand I've built, if you want to get all technical about it. You know, that's not... Morally, for me, it's wrong. It's not who I am. It's not what I want to be. So really, like I said, I hope what I'm doing is worth it. Tell me, is it worth it, guys? Let me know if anything I'm doing is working in any way, shape, or form. Before we get... So there's a conspiracy retrospective. That's me going back in time, tell you my journey, where I'm at now, and how we got there. And we'll get on to talking about these demon dolls. I'll answer an email somebody sent me, and then I'll get our guest on as well. Somebody wants to call in and just share their story. They sent me an email last minute, so we'll get them on as well. So let's this. My wife said the little season made me miss the clowns. Yeah, true. She never thought she'd say that. Yeah, absolutely. I always pray like, okay. Yeah, look, don't get into the whole sacred name bullshit. Please, just stop it. Stop it. Okay. There's no. As far as I'm aware, no good fruit truly comes from that, and it all it does is appeal to the I have secret knowledge over other people, pride within men. Okay, when you say Jesus or Yeshua or whatever name you want to use, you know in your heart who you're referring to. You're referring to the one God sent to die for our sins on that cross. Okay? You know. And it doesn't mean Jesus. Okay? It doesn't mean Zeus. Like, it does not mean any of that. It's just made up bullshit. That's not how language works. Okay? My name is just as much Paolo as it in Spanish as it is Paul in English. It doesn't matter how you do it. I mean, the correct English translation is Joshua. If you want to go to the Greek Aisos or whatever it is, and then to the German Aisis, whatever. It's just language development. Okay, it doesn't matter. Don't get caught up in that nonsense. It's a pride issue. It appeals to people's pride. Just don't do it. Okay, don't get bogged down in that stuff. Use the name of Jesus, it will work. And I'm sure use the name of Yeshua, maybe that'll work too. I'm sure it probably will. It's still his name. It just means Joshua, okay? Which in Greek is Jesus. Whatever. Aisos, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Okay? It's language. It's just how language works. As long as you know who you're talking about, I'm pretty sure Jesus knows who you're talking about too. It's a heart thing. It's there. Okay? He knows. And you should rest assured that you know too. Honestly, like there's so many people in the conspiracy world that are like this, and all I can think is like, why are you like this? Why are you like this? Stop it! Just stop it! I'm gonna stop it before I get out of hand and start going scorched earth. Honestly, I'm gonna have to stop. What was I saying? Right, demon dolls. That's. So someone sent me an email. Let's get the email up first, and I'll read it out loud. And I'll show you the pictures as well. So Dave Shader sent me an email about a hard copy and audiobook. Okay, Dave, I'll send you the email after this show so you can purchase that, and I'll send you the link for the audiobook once payment's received, and then I'll get it mailed out to you as soon as possible. So yeah, just bear with me, Dave. I will sort it out at the end of the show. In the meantime, let me just open up my little file I've got here of saved things, and Sandra sent me an email, and she says, "Hi, Paul. Hugs. My daughter is 22. She is into all the trends, which later you or Brian from Demon Erasers will talk about." That's true. I often find it funny in an odd way that my daughter speaks of, watches, owns said hot trend item / movie, whatever it is I talk about. Eventually she's got it. Yeah, fair enough. The up and coming is a nice demon named Labubu. It's a Japanese thing. Plushies are all the rage already. I'm including a picture of them. Sandra. Just straight to the point. I appreciate the email, Sandra. I'll show the images myself of Labubu, shall I? And if you haven't heard of this is an extremely popular thing that kind of was maybe about a month ago. It was kind of at its peak of extreme popularity, and maybe the hype is tapering off a bit now. And this is how I like to do things here. I talk about things way after the fact, because I think you get a better perspective. And yes, the link that primarily gets made is that Pazuzu is Labubu. And this has actually become a meme in its own right. Let's just get up the Wikipedia page and read this, because it has give like a relatively decent summary of what it is. Labubu Wiki. Okay. Because it did bring up the conspiracy aspect. So Labubu is a plush toy created by an illustrator from Hong Kong who lived in the Netherlands, and he incorporated basically Nordic mythology with kind of Asian iconography, and came up with this thing, this Labubu. And it never really explains thoroughly what exactly inspired him from Nordic folklore, but I have my theories and ideas I think we'll get into a second. But basically, this got ridiculous, and billions have been made from selling this thing now in Pop Mart. And because a couple of famous people, like a K-pop group, Blackpink, started wearing them, and then I think Rihanna and Cher was even seen using them as like an accessory on their handbags. It just became the thing everybody has to get now, you know. And the shallow idol worshipping lost souls, as I mentioned earlier, really lap this kind of stuff up when it happens, because this is how they fit in, show their allegiance, and this is what their identity is based upon, being accepted by the group. So this is how they show that they are part of the group to gain that personality that they lack, you know. And this is what they do. This is how they do it, and this is everywhere. Even like a standing Nottingham just selling them. You know what I mean? And plushies made of the same image as well, and all sorts of just crap, you know, just absolute tats getting created to try and sell this stuff. I've seen them in my own corner shop now. It's getting ridiculous, and the demand is so high, it's crashed the websites. The queues have been overflowing. People have been fighting each other for them. It's just been getting absolutely silly. And in Thailand, they made amulets out of its image because they believe it can bring good luck, like a Buddhist amulet. In Singapore, it's got huge promotion there as well. It's all over adverts. It's involved in festivals now. There's like a temple dedicated to it at a festival. It's been banned in Russia. And it's also been banned in Iraq because they said it could influence children's behaviors and attract demonic spirits. And look at this. However, no scientific evidence was provided to support these claims. They're going to throw that in there, so we laugh. And yeah, demonic conspiracy theories. Labubu has been associated with conspiracy theories like the ancient Mesopotamian demon Pazuzu, and there's an image of Pazuzu, and they're saying this is Labubu is Pazuzu. Due to its sharp-toothed grin and eerie aesthetic, these theories gained popularity on platforms like TikTok and Reddit, with some users claiming supernatural experiences and even destroying their dolls in public. Pakistani actress Mishi Khan also voiced concern, warning that the dolls may attract negative spiritual energies or jinn. Designers and cultural analysts, however, have dismissed these claims, stating that the character draws from European folklore and does not contain occult symbolism. Now, whatever, that being said, that's the backstory, if you didn't know already, over these ridiculous-looking, tacky-looking things. This is what the big deal's been made about these dolls. Anyway, how does this relate to my work in some way? Well, primarily it's saying this is based on European folklore. And from the image, I can already kind of loosely tell what they were talking about. And they were talking about the wild man of Europe. I think that's what he was basing it on. And I'm not just saying that. Let me just get a wild man of Europe images up. And you'll see it becomes pretty apparent that's likely what they were basing it on. Because they do have a face without hair and a body covered in hair look about them more often than not. So if I just share the screen with you, you'll see what I'm talking about. I don't have to just tell you, I can just show you. Screen share. So this is likely what Labubu is based on. So this one down here, for example, the face is clear, but the body's covered in hair and animalistic in some way. The face is clear, body's covered in hair, clear face, hairy body. Clear face, covered in hair. Another example here. Clear face, covered in hair from the rituals where they venerate these things in the modern day. Here it is, animalistic. Clear face, covered in hair. I'd say that's Labubu. Okay, so if you can't get the image there. that is likely inspired by this. So the Wild Man of Europe, if you read my book, you'll know, is actually a very, very prominent depiction of European Nephilim. More modern day European Nephilim, perhaps descendants of Nephilim. Bigfoot is another example of this. But a lot of these modern day festivals, like the Kukuri in Bulgaria, really focus on this one in particular. So this is your Labubu right here. Okay, this is where they got it from. They dress like this in their festivals to venerate the Wild Man of Europe, an ancient primordial spirit of winter, which they dress like to ward away in order to bring in a good harvest, basically. And if you look at the stories of this, it's a giant who wields a club, who wanders through the forests of Europe, who has a band of merry demons that follow him, which is usually deformed humans who have an animal-like nature to them. But the Wild Man is like the leader. And if you also know my research as well, Harlequin, the first proto-clown, was actually based upon the Wild Man of Europe who wielded his club. It's the same creature that's supposed to represent the tufts of hair, as you saw in one of those statues earlier. And this was the first proto-clown introduced into the theatres of the Middle Ages, the late Middle Ages, coming out of it into the Enlightenment. And this is what he originally looked like. He was the Wild Man. That's who he's supposed to be. So Labubu has its links to the Wild Man, which is another variation of the Harlequin. So Labubu is quite literally a representation of the Nephilim in a very cutesy, minimalized, huge artistic liberty taken way. Okay, that's what it really is. It hatches nothing very little to do with the Pazuzu, the Mesopotamian god, which I think has been used as like a point of ridicule against anybody who would question the narrative. But it has the wide mouth like a clown and the toothy grin, the button nose, which you could easily do red, the hairy wild body, and the deformation, make it like a rabbit creature of some kind, which I think could be a harkening back, the rabbit ears, to the humans who manipulated their own DNA in the book of Jasher with the mixing of kinds, where mankind manipulated themselves and mixed themselves with animals, which may be another reason how a lot of these wild men creatures were created too. But the original stories of the Wild Man, before they were kind of mythologized and turned into a symbol of festival like this, the original images of these things, or descriptions, are extremely giant, wild-haired, colourful-looking, crazy monster giants with clubs, you know, so I think they were closer to European Nephilim. Here's some examples of them on tapestries. She has like bright red hair, grey hair, blue hair, pale white skin features. These were the giant wild men of Europe, you know. But they've kind of been remembered and mythologized. But I think when they were actually around, they were probably a lot more monstrous looking, a lot more colourful. And those who dress like them today at these festivals, they often go this way for this reason. Because this is basically what they would have actually looked like. Because the Nephilim did indeed look like clowns in their original form, you know, and then later iterations and descendants of them started to look more human, but maintained quite a hairy visage, as you can see here. So, yeah, interesting. So Pazuzu is an interesting one. And it's not the first time we've seen the popularization of a demonic wild man image. Huggy Wuggy is one from a video game called Poppy Playtime, which was popular maybe about quite a while ago now. But you have this monster that follows you, this creature here, while you're exploring a toy factory, basically. And this is like one of the things that stalks you regularly in the game. And it's an experiment that gone wrong. It's been mixed with a human in some way, or like a human's brain is in there and it's gone wild and mad. And it basically tries to kill you and eat you or protect the place from intruders in some way. And then this thing got highly popularized and turned into a plush toy, and now it's everywhere. It's in all sorts of places. It's in places being sold to kids. Even now you still see them, but they were everywhere once upon a time. Huggy Wuggy plush. Yeah, let's just put that in, plushie. And yeah, they were honestly being sold anywhere and everywhere with every iteration and theme you could imagine. Knockoffs galore, the originals and all sorts of things in supermarkets, in like stalls, in markets as well. Just so many variations of Huggy Wuggy were everywhere. And Labubu is just the new one. It's just the next one. It's just, now it's this instead of this. Like, it's not new. Just like they always have to popularize the clown in media every few years to revivify it in the psyche of the collective conscious and make them all start obsessing over clowns a little bit more, or a new Joker to keep that connection to the demon realm, there, and keep that channel to the Nephilim who look like clowns there. They do the same thing with plushies, it seems. They popularize something amongst children that harkens back to the wild man, to the Nephilim, to the spirits and the disembodied spirits with the clown features, so the kids always have an icon attached to them that creates a channel to the demonic realm in some way. It's really pernicious, it's really evil, and they always come for the kids in that way. I think it's just the same thing. I think it's just exactly the same thing, to be honest. I think that's what's going on there. So there's my take on the Boo Boo, Pazuzu, Huggy Wuggy, plushy toys that represent the wild man or the demonic. It's the same old tactic, just that's going to get recycled. Guarantee in 5 years' time, it'll be something else. There'll be another similar thing, and I bet it all is connected to the exact same thing. Guarantee it. I mean, the thing about Huggy Wuggy is this one's really terrifying. If I can get the image up here, Raksha mask. It really looks like a Rakshasa demon of India, a specific masks that they wear. It's like they took the direct inspiration from the Indian flavor of human dragon hybrids in particular. And I made this connection. This is what I thought Huggy Wuggy was inspired by. Now, they never admit this. They say it was I think they say it was inspired by Cabbage Patch dolls. Right, I think Huggy Wuggy was more likely inspired by this thing, the Rakshasa masks of Sri Lanka in specific. I think Huggy Wuggy harkens a lot more closer to this image. Let me just move that up. I think that and that are a lot closer to each other, if you get what I mean. I think that's really what they were doing here, but they'll never tell you that. But these icons are on the walls of all sorts of people around the world who just think it's something fun, collectors of strange oceanic artworks, and Indian iconography artwork. When really what they're doing is they're putting a representation of a Nephilim on the wall, a human dragon hybrid. The seraphim angels who mated and mixed themselves with human women created these things. This is what they created. Okay, these are the Nephilim, and Huggy Wuggy is like a mixed version of the hairy European versions of the same thing. I think that's where they get their inspiration from. That's just my theory. That's my take. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I just thought it was an interesting take. So that's kind of my working theory on it there. If you didn't know. So yeah, guys, there we go. There's a little presentation on the Boo Boo and demon dolls and so forth. I thought I'd answer that email as well, so thanks for emailing me. I appreciate it. I'm going to take another quick break, and then when we come back, I'm going to get a caller on, so I'm going to go send them the email now, get them hooked up on Zoom, so when we get back, we can get straight into that as well, and maybe we'll take it at the end with a bit more of a back and forth Q&A too. So please bear with me, guys, while I get this sorted. I'm just going to play the usual. I'm going to play a song by Judah Sargent. I'll play Endurance, like I love to play. And it gives me enough time as well just to get this call sorted in the meantime. And this one's called Endurance. Enjoy.
I heard him shout, "See, still ashes." I cried steadfast as my blood dripped down. 40 men swore to an oath not to swallow one thing until my death. I'd fight, but it be in your hands. God, my scars are ready to beg, privilege to trust you. I'll worship and stay, anguish burning in my pleas are that I can. Under all these stones, wonders I'd see before I'd ever think this would go down. A second more will keep my knee from above. Yeah. But are my hands beyond bars to chains for you? Temptation sings a sweet song to break free, but I will be home soon. Battered by Euroglide to get across the sea. I gotta follow my captain in the sky. God, my scars are ready to beg, privileged to trust you. I'll worship and stay at anguish burning in my pleas are that I can, under all these stones, still combine my hands to God, my scars are ready to beg, privileged to trust you. I'll worship and stay at anguish burning in my pleas are that I can, under all these stones, still combine my hands to
And we are back, and my webcam's moved. There it is. I'm moving back into shot. I've opened Zoom, and it tends to suddenly shift OBS's camera immediately as soon as I connect it to the Zoom camera as well. But we're back in the screen, and I'm still waiting for the guest to catch on there. I've sent him the email, sent him the link. He'll figure it out. And until then, let's just check the chat. Let's see what's going on. I'll just talk to you guys, and I'll keep checking back to see if Donovan's managed to make it or not. You never know. Maybe you won't. It's okay if that's not the end of the world. I can keep going for another half an hour easily on my own. You guys know what I can do. I can easily fill this show out either way. So someone says they have to get rid of the dragon collection now. Probably would be a good idea to keep those things around. I don't know. I mean, look, we're not called to have a spirit of fear. Like, all things are lawful, not all things are profitable now once saved by Jesus Christ. Don't give these things authority in your life, and believe they have power over you because you're kind of giving them power over you in some way. So I'm kind of more of I have faith that Jesus prevails over an icon of a dragon or an angel in your house, in some way. But at the same time, if you feel convicted to do something like that, like get rid of them or destroy these idols, or you think they're opening gateways into your house to demons, then I would recommend maybe get rid of the things that bring them in first. Perhaps that might be a good idea. But I'm all for just rebuke that thing in the name of Christ and demand that it stays in its lane, and you're probably going to be all right as well. I'm not one to be scared of images. I'm not one to, an image is an image at the end of the day. Have no fear over it, rebuke it in the name of Christ, and make it clear that you have authority over something like a demon trying to use that image to get into your home, and you probably still be safe. That's kind of my take on it, but I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm horribly wrong. I think when Christ came and took victory and took all authority, we should take that seriously, not give too much authority to things anymore, to stuff, or have any fear over such things anymore. Saying that, though, don't willingly bring, obviously open occult things into your home. That's where you're going to have serious problems. I'll say that as well. Happy face symbol tattoos are troublesome. Happy face killers, processed church, Nephilim, etc. in mop. I'm going to be completely honest with you there, Bad Hat Harriet. I got this when I was 17 because I'm an optimist, and I really didn't think much deeper about it because I wasn't saved then or cared about anything like that whatsoever. I was just in rebellion, and I thought it'd be cool. I literally have never even heard of the Happy Face Killers until I started a YouTube channel. I don't know what associating that has to do with anything. The only thing I ever saw smiley face associated with was acid tabs. That's all I really knew anything about it, So to you, it's troublesome. To me, it's just a scar from my past life. And I'm not ashamed of that. So there we go. Can't have two masters. Good head on your shoulders, boy. Yeah. Turn that frown upside down. Yeah, whatever. Demons are cowards, Linda. You're right. They are. This is the last season of Satan. It's over for him. Let's have no fear. Let's take back our authority, eh? Having supernatural experiences from the demons showed me God was real, made me wake up for real, heart connected instead of intellectually. Absolutely, that's true. Is there such a thing as good Nephilim, waffle fries? No. Some have tried, many have failed. I think the dog-headed Saint Christopher is not a Nephilim. That would have been a hybridized human who corrupted themselves and obviously sought salvation. As for the Nephilim themselves, the offspring of fallen angels and human women, no, not one good among them. Absolutely not. I think they're incapable of it because they don't have the breath of life from God in them, or they might have the image of God from their human mothers, but they don't have the Spirit of God in them or the capability to house the Holy Spirit. I don't think they understand the concept of good. I really don't. I don't think they can understand the concept of good. I think they're a product of hubris and pride and anger and revenge. That's all they know. And even if they did repent, I don't think they're sincere. I think they were all opportunists at best. And I think they had to go. Have no sympathy for the devil. Okay, is all I'm trying to say there. They'd love to do that, there's a lot of people who like to play that game. I think evil was evil. I don't think there was nuance with these things. I really don't. They ate us. They were all complicit with the parents who were trying to have dominion over us and be the gods above us all. And no way. I don't think they were good at all. I really don't. Let's keep going down here. Let's see what else we've got in the chat. Hey, Paul, not sure if you sent the email to me for the call link, but if you did, I haven't received anything. I've sent you the link, I believe. Donovan, if that's you. It says he's ready. Let's have a look. Yeah, he's in the chat. Let's bring him in. Let's get you in there. Like the parents who would... Okay, I think... Let me just check my headphones.
All right.
I can't hear you there. Donovan, if you're speaking...
Can you hear me?
Speaking, Donovan, I can't hear you right now. Let me just quickly sort something out here. Very quickly. technical difficulties as per usual. Let me just sort my audio out. Speaker, microphone, that's set. Playback. Yeah, my speaker's set to the microphone for some reason. There we go. I should be able to hear you now. I can, yeah, loud and clear. So let me just quickly turn you up, and the people can hear you too. So Donovan, thanks for the email. Thanks for getting in touch.
Yeah.
You got in touch straight after the show last week, I think it was. You sent me an email like as soon as the show ended. I think that's what happened there. Is that right?
Yeah. You were.
Okay. Well, first of all, before we start, bit of advice. Don't look at the numbers. Don't watch the screen. Don't look at the show while we're playing. In fact, turn that off because we'll get an echo otherwise. And forget about that. Forget about all those guys, those weird voyeurs watching us from afar. It's just me and you. Okay, we're just having a conversation, and this is your chance just to tell your story and say what you need to say. The floor's yours for about 15 minutes. So Donovan, take it away, and yeah.
Okay. I guess, I grew up like a scared kid, man, right? So if you do that, you tend to, isolate and get bitter in life, right? And for the longest time, my dad was super religious, so it really turned me off the whole thing. Down the road, I got into the whole like, Satanism thing and everything, and I was like, okay. Just your typical douchebag, you know? And in spite of all that, I like to think, I do the right thing, even when nobody else does, because, I know what's right and wrong. And for what it's worth, I stood up to people when other people wouldn't or whatever. Um, and I had always been interested in like history because it seems like the general public is pretty dumb.
I get
if
you.
you're
I
any
get that.
if you're any kind of intelligent, you're like, what? Why do you think X, Y, and Z thing? And most people don't ever ask why they're doing anything. And because of that, I had already kind of like gotten a background in like MK Ultra and Tuskegee experiments and stuff like that. And because of that, I had reason to like, not believe what I'm told by the government, things like that. And so when I'm still in the army now, and when they were rolling out the COVID mandates and all that stuff, uh, I really couldn't understand why people were, first of all, just going with it. And then second, a lot of the dudes that would say like, "Oh, I'm never gonna take this. This is BS," all that. They just they just caved. And because I knew what I knew, and I had access to some, resources like, do you know who Brett Weinstein is?
I've heard the name.
Yeah,
Was he
he's a
Jordan Peterson days?
yeah, he's like a secular he's like a secular scientist type, good dude, but strictly atheist. But even he was like, this is unsafe, don't do this, yada yada yada. And he had the actual technical expertise to say why. And I'd bring this up to people, and they're like, "Oh, that's not a good enough reason." And for some reason, I stuck with it in spite of everything. And they started kicking me out, and they said, "You're a piece of crap, plague rat, yada yada yada." And they did. They let me go temporarily. They just said, don't show up anymore." And man, I took a lot of pride in that stuff, and that was like all I had. So it hurt. And at the same time, like just because I was kind of like losing my mind because of it, like I had gotten into a really bad fight with my best friend, so we stopped talking. And dude, I was by myself, and I really had nothing. And I could not for the life of me figure out why I didn't just cave, because every day I wanted to, like, I want to go back. I want to go do army stuff or whatever. And the other guys who didn't do it, one was a Ranger Battalion guy. I don't know if you know what the Rangers are, but they're a special operations group, and they do all the stuff that like you think about when you see the movies, right? You know, the shoot 'em up stuff. One guy was an LA SWAT cop, and then one guy was just another infantry dude who deployed a bunch of times. And all three of them were the guys who did the stuff that everyone else wants to do when they join. But it turns out too, all three of them were Christians, and they were the dudes who stuck to their guns, and they didn't get it. And over time, I started putting two and two together. It's like, look, those dudes who said they wouldn't caved because that was all they had. And I didn't realize it at the time, but you know, uh, the four people out of that platoon who didn't get the shot and got kicked out and then asked to come back were Christians. And it's finally like why it dawned on me, like that's why they're pushing so hard against people who have any kind of faith in the modern world, is because like when the rubber hits the road, those are the people that say, no, I'm not going to go with this. And well, that just, because I was happened to be in a good place after that, like I got some help from some people that I didn't expect. And I still had a good job. I do like fugitive recovery and like public safety and things like that. I still had a job and I was still able to work. And those jobs, you sit around, you wait for people a long time, right? And so I had time to like just sit and think and listen to different stuff. And I live in Seattle right now, and frankly, it's a dark place. I would argue probably one of the darker places in the world. I love I love your little term you came up with, the multicolored collective, right? It's a favorite of mine. It's a good bypass.
Yeah.
But the things, it's not everyone, obviously, but the things that people get away with because they're part of a group, you know, it would make your stomach churn. You already know all this stuff, but I was thinking about like, okay, well, why does this all happen? And now that I'd like become a Christian and I was reading the Bible and learning about these things, it's like the worst thing I could think of is hurting children. That is like the absolute worst thing you could do in the world. That is objectively evil. Like even even if you go off and like kill someone in self-defense or whatever, you have your reason, but there's no excuse for that. Um, and I wonder why the rates were so high in these sets of people. And I started seeing how they're dressing, man, and it's like they have like demon horns on them and stuff, and they dress like clowns. They really do. And I was talking to a friend's mom one day, and I'm like, the behavior strikes me as demonic, and so does the appearance. And I think there might be something more to it. And I'm like, demons must look something like clowns. And the funniest thing in the world, man, is like after I started thinking that, that's when your channel started popping up on my feed. And this was about like 2023. And like, I partially hate the term synchronicity, but things synced up funny. And I was like, what? Well, this guy's done a bunch of research at the same time. And you put in like more than some people put in a doctoral thesis, really.
Feels like it. Yeah, it feels like that sometimes. I'm surprised myself with that one. Yeah. So go ahead.
I'm I'm about to go back and hopefully start my psych doctorate, but trust me, you have the people who do have doctorates are not very intelligent, and everyone's different, but in general, college makes you dumb. Like I really appreciate what you're doing, and I think it's funny the way that worked out. I don't, at least anymore, believe in coincidences or anything like that. And since I've come back into service like 2 years ago, like I've spent a lot of time talking about this, and like, man, I'm living proof that the people in charge are liars because they said all this stuff would happen and none of it did. And the people who stuck to their guns and didn't go along with the herd, they were right. And, you know, you can believe the funny thing about the modern world is like every single person you talk to, everyone is a conspiracy theorist, but it's like which ones they choose to believe. It's like God, sorry, I've got a cold, man.
It's all right.
For instance, if someone's left leaning, Trump got his ear shot. They're like, oh, he set it all up. Someone's right leaning, like, oh, this is a plot by the Democrats to do this, yada yada yada. And it's like, well, so everybody does not trust their government, and when you ask them why, they say, well, because they lie. And like, why do you trust them on X, Y, and Z thing? And when you really get down to it, people do not have internal logic that syncs up with itself, and I respect people that do have internal logic that follows. I think in mathematics it's called a proof, if then statements, right? And interacting with the public so much and just people in general, like it's my job to talk to people, and whew, for lack of a better term, they dumb, man. Not a lot of thought goes through those heads, and it seems like people commit more violence based on like information they don't really know, and what's more, don't really even believe if you get down to it. And I think talking to people and the practicality of this and your channel and what you do is like there is a part where you act how you believe, right? And I just came back from a funeral where a guy killed a cop shooting up a CDC building because, oh, they're responsible for everything. But at the end of the day, those are just people, and you've lost yourself. And it's a crazy time, I think. And the more you know about what you don't know, the more you take a pause and you don't act out. And sometimes you have to. Like there are bad people in the world and all that, but in general, I've just found myself disagreeing with people more often, and they lose their mind. And
yeah.
So these little talks you do, they help because like even my own family, like some of them are difficult to talk to, and they just outright deny things. And like, well, you're not going to put the time in to learn this, and you expect me to be able to rattle everything off, which I've gotten pretty good at, actually. Like, do you know who Michael Aquino was?
You fill me in, remind me.
Okay.
I'm on the spot.
You'll like him. Well, you won't. He was an Air Force colonel in I think the 70s, 80s. It must have been 80s, and he was an OTO Satanist, and he went on Oprah advocating for it and everything.
I think I remember this now.
He was the founder of the Psychological Operations Division of the Army. He gets busted for child molestation, pornography, everything under the sun that you could think of that is bad. And most people don't know this. And it's like, well, the branch involved with screwing with people's heads was founded by somebody who believes the exact things that you like don't want to believe are real. And we're getting actual effects of it from that. Like, man, people don't know this stuff. And like, that's why I brought it up earlier. And I think when you're just introducing things to people, and again, I didn't know about it until last year, but like things like the Invention Secrecy Act, it's a real base level thing. People don't know about it. And the implication is like, you don't know what's been invented. You don't know what's out there, and you're going to claim to have the moral authority on everything because somebody else said so. And it's funny, like at the end of the day, it's just my observation, but most people are violently religious. They just pretend they're not. And it's usually they're taking a lot of faith in things that other people say anyways without actually thinking about it or learning about what they think. And
yeah, I agree.
I don't know. I just that's mostly all I had to say. And thanks for doing what you do, man.
No, well, thanks for sharing. I think a lot of people really enjoyed listening to you. They're looking at the chat. You're quite a personable guy. You seem very down to earth. You seem grounded. I think you're representing the truth as best you can do out there, which is great. And like I said, I agree. You told the story about the CDC guard who got shot because someone thought they were doing the righteous thing because they're responsible for all the evil in the world. And that's kind of my message. Kind of like, you don't know people or what they're responsible for or what's going on. You've made up delusions in your own mind and imaginations, and you're going to act upon them. And it's kind of, at the end of the day, we're all people. We're all under the deception. Our enemy is not each other. And you can't just go ahead and take the God's justice into your own hands and go out there and start gunning people down. You know, it's a terrible idea. It doesn't work for anybody. And you don't know whether you're right or not. And there's just things we can't know, which is why we have to walk in love. We have to do the best we can to stay grounded, stay cool, really think these things out properly, you know. And it's scary, like you said, the Michael Keaton. When you started telling me about the military Satanists, it all came back to me. I was like, I remember this now.
Yeah.
Or and it's kind of, these people have been in positions of authority and power over us, and trickle-down effects is what they've implemented is being put onto us. And the whole point is to give us their beliefs and their minds. They want us to behave and act and think like they do. You know, and that guy was caught in the worst possible things you could imagine. And it's like, oh, we didn't see it coming. It's not like he told us he was a Satanist. You know, it's kind of like, there comes a point where it's hard then to kind of forgive, isn't it? It's kind of like, well, are you that stupid?
Yeah.
Are you really that dumb and blind? And you can get angry at them for being like that. It's almost like you feel like they're purposely being blind and evil. And I don't think they are. I think they're under the delusions that they've been fed through the systems, and they actually don't know there's anything wrong with the things that are going on around us. It doesn't matter that things have been hidden from us through the Secrecy of Invention Acts, because they probably have internalized, well, the government knows what they're doing. There's probably a reason why I don't need to know about these things. And they haven't even thought that. They just believe it already implicitly, because then they have no reason to even question or ask. And that's why one of my recent videos was like, they really don't know what they're doing. You can't hate them. They're children. They're literally children. Like, you don't get angry at a child when he does, like when he just does something a child does, you know. And I feel like in a way that's what these people are. They're running the programming. They're on a track, and they don't know they're on a track. They don't know they're a wind up robot and just doing what they've been wound up to do. They really haven't got a clue yet. And all we can kind of do is just try and knock them off the track for long enough for them to realize they were on a track. That's the best we can do, and hope they don't get back on. We can't stop them. Like, they're probably going to 90% of the time, but if we can just get that 10, 5, 3% to stay off long enough, then you don't need the majority. You just need like a strong, small amount of people to implement change in the world. You know, you don't need the majority. It's the minority that influences the majority in a way. And I feel like the truth of culture is growing. I do. I'm kind of optimistic about that. I feel like more people are. COVID is a good example. I think that really slapped a lot of people off the track, like big time. And good for you for sticking to your guns. And obviously, God bless those other men as well who stuck to their guns and did the right thing, because it's their example that obviously helped you in some way, in a big way, find your faith as well. And I think it's a testimony and a great example to just like what we do, how we act in the world. We just don't really fathom the effects it has. We really don't. We don't understand. We should be aware of that at all times. Is there anything else you want to say before you leave? I went on a bit too long there. I'm sorry, but
no, it's fine. I think just two other observations. Well, one's an observation, one's just something else to bring up. I've worked with like news crews and stuff like that before. I can't talk about which ones, but you know, I notice people act differently when they know they're on camera. And I mean, the phone phenomena itself is like proof of that, but like when someone knows they're being filmed, they act worse. And like they have riots where I live like every summer. We call it riot season here, right? And like they all have the Antifa dudes like with masks on, like burning things. And I swear they would not be doing this if there were no cameras. They wouldn't, because I think the paradigm shift of like you can do something and they'll just be all over the world overnight, it messes with people's heads. And I wish I had a camera on me when I was like bodyguarding this one guy, because like it was funny. It's like this town square, it's like packed with like 10,000 people and there's like lighting trash cans on fire. Then if you just panned like to the right, you would see a completely empty city. And it's like, you see what people want you to see in general, and like it'll make you panic or whatever. And I get it. I get being scared for those watching and listening, but it is not the whole picture. It never is. So don't let it get in your head too much. And then two, I think this is related. I think you've mentioned it before. It's the concept of the panopticon. You're familiar with that?
The prison system where the guards can see everything at once at all times, and everyone knows that they're being perceived from the center. Is it the
Almost. So it's there's one guard who can see anywhere in the prison, but he's only looking at one spot at a time. So the threat is you don't know if you're being watched, but because of that, nobody acts up. And I think that is part of the fear they put into like the surveillance state that we live in. Because I mean, different countries and everything, but frankly, I think we have the same government already. So, you know, that is there. I don't think is a reason not to speak up and not to do the right thing. Just for everyone out there, if you're ever discouraged, it can't all go away in an instant. Because I really did have nothing there for a second, and it is by the grace of God that I'm here, able to talk, and I'm doing some really cool stuff now. I'm sure I'll talk more about it on something later, but don't give up. Keep doing what's right, I guess, even if you're afraid to. That's all I got, man.
Amen to that. Oh, well, thanks for on, Donovan. Thanks for sharing. I really appreciate it. And when you're ready, get in touch with me. You can share with me whatever it is you're doing or whatever you're planning and what's going on in your life. You've got my email. Stay in touch, brother. It was great talking to you. Thanks for doing this. I appreciate it.
Same. Thank you. Bye.
No worries. God bless. Let me just turn off Zoom here quickly and switch this back. My camera might suddenly just dart all over the place in a second because that's what OBS likes to do. Let me switch. No, I'm good. I'm here. We're back. That was great, wasn't it? Thanks to Donovan for coming on and speaking. That was a wonderful conversation. Great insight. And this is what the Truth of Therapy session is really all about. People just tuning in, calling in, telling their part of the story, sharing how they went through it and how they've come to the faith or come to the truth or whatever, wherever they are. And I think hearing those testimonies certainly teaches me a lot of things, and I hope it's teaching the listeners here a lot of things as well. So, guys, we're coming up to the 2-hour mark. I'm on 1 hour 55 on my side here, so 5 minutes left. I'll close this out by just saying, if you want to get a signed copy of The Nephilim Look Like Clowns, email me at understandingconspiracy@gmail.com. I have a couple of paperbacks and a few hardcovers left, so you can get that. And if you get it from this batch, this is the last one I'm going to have to do this with now because I'm running out of codes. But if you're in the UK or the US and you do buy one of these signed copies, you get the audiobook for free. I'll send you a code and you can get a free audiobook of this. So that's the deal right now. If you want to buy one from me directly, it helps. You can buy it from Amazon and get a non-signed copy, but I will get you supporting me far more because they don't take a... Well, I'm not... There's no 60% Amazon cut when it comes to this and print costs or anything else. It really helps me a lot if you buy direct from me as well. So I appreciate that. If anyone who is interested does, that's a great way to support me. Please make sure to check out Patreon as well. Lots of stuff on there. Again, I'm working on something that's going to get released very soon, but that's already on Patreon as early access for the past week. And everything I do for the other channel goes early access on there as well. So there's lots of other stuff on there as well you can go check out. But while I've got you here, is there anyone wants to say anything, any last minute comments, I'll give shout outs. Thanks to Ben Folhat. We got Judith as well. We got Jeff Nugent in the house. Always great to see you. We've got our moderator galore. We've got drunk wedding photographer David. Thanks for being here as well. I appreciate it. I know, like you said, you dropped off for a little bit when I was talking about the little season, which is understandable. And I'm happy to still see you stuck around and saw it through with me to stay around. I will be putting one of your photographs you sent me. We still have the files. You sent me some photographs of yours. He is a photographer, obviously. I do plan on getting them up on the wall soon as well, so keep an eye out and I'll get one of your pictures behind here, David, as well on this wall. Anyone else we got I can say hi to? We got Anna Banana Republic, thanks for being here. We've got Trish Clark in the house. We've got Soldier for Yahweh. We have waffle fries. We got Ben Stoff. Ben Stoff, is that right? I hope so. Cult of Cons in the house as well. We got Connor. We've got. I'd like to thank you all, to be honest, guys. But obviously, special thanks to my wife for sticking it out with me. Even when I'm being a crazy conspiracy theorist, she's still here. She could have left, but no, she didn't. She stuck it out, and I love her for it as well. But yeah, guys, it's been an amazing 8 years since this podcast started. We've made an amazing community, which I'm very proud of, and I'm very happy to be a part of. Come check out the Telegram if you haven't already. If you're a listener, we're always talking on there. It's a good way to get in touch with me directly as well. We have a lot of fun. And again, I just want to thank everybody. I want to thank you all for the support, for being there for me when I needed you as well. I don't know. I cannot fathom just how lucky I am. Like I know. I don't take it for granted at any moment. I really don't. I am literally living the dream as far as my dreams went. This is as far as it went. Maybe I didn't aim high enough. I don't know, but I get to talk about things that are important to me. I get to try my best to help people. I've managed to create a platform that gives a voice to people who might not otherwise have a voice. I get to write, I get to draw, I get to sing, I get to laugh, I get to make videos. And I get to share the truth in Christ as well. And there's no more fulfilling feeling than that. I can't really express it in any other way. So thank you. And of course, thank you to Jesus. Thank you to the Father. Just thank you. So we'll leave it there, guys. We'll close out this with another song by Judas Sargent, who, again, thank you for letting me use his music. Royalty free. He's just giving it away, but go and check him out as well. But I'll close with Endurance. And again, thanks for listening, guys. And as always, God bless.
to you. Whether it be a burgundy woven into the covering of the color that embodies a son's blood for the lost, bring me down to the lowest color of the lower grade to show the highest, the most beautiful. One patch most. More hose, more hose, more hose. Exalt the man on the cross. What patch most? Exalt the man on the cross. Like the quill Mama had me covered, I slept soundly under. Father, here am I undeserved. If you will choose any of these colors, oh, like the quill Mama had me covered, I will live however you want me to. Thread it through for the glory of Savior's blood spilled. Because no matter from what cloth I was cut, may